This is a brand new experience for me. I don't know how I'm gonna do during this time. Hopefully I do well. I have no topic. I have I'm just kind of going off the cuff on this. If I haven't already said it, welcome to the very first episode of the podcast, Just Talking with Leo. This podcast is going to be so many different things that I can't really just explain it. Anything you can think of, I'll probably do on this podcast. For right now, it's just going to be me on this podcast, but which I think is a good thing. I need to get better at this. And then pretty soon, I'll make sure to get some guests in here to make it more fun for the audience, for you guys in general, because I don't think I can listen to myself for an hour, let alone you guys. So, have no topics for this podcast. I'm kind of just going off the cuff, and I'm hoping that it'll land, but it might not. And so, I need you guys to go in the comment section. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like this podcast. You already know what to do. If you're on Spotify, rate it 5 stars. If you're on Apple, rate it or whatever. I really don't care about that stuff. There's going to be a bunch of links in the description of this YouTube video, probably to my TikTok page if you want to see some fire, funny TikToks. Make sure to go on there. You'll see the promotion for this podcast. So didn't really work too hard on it, but a lot of people told me it was a good watch. So please watch that. And so also the Twitter. We're gonna have polls on this podcast, and so we're gonna put those polls on Twitter. So make sure to go on that Twitter and vote. Your vote matters. So as I said before, it's just gonna be me for at least a couple episodes. If any of you guys want to hop on the podcast, and I know you're welcome to. Just you know how to find me. You know how to text me. And so that's the very shitty intro out of the way. Um, Christmas is around the corner, right? I just want to say this. Christmas is a overrated holiday, and I know gasp everywhere, but it just is. It's all it is presents. There's in Santa, and that guy's not even real. Bombshell. It's just presents, and there's nothing that's special that happens on Christmas. Even New Year's is a more fun holiday because a whole new year, a whole new goals, all new whatever. Christmas is just a day. It's just such a boring, bland, white in multiple senses day where nothing is gonna happen. There's no good Christmas food. I also want to say that every other holiday has a fire food that I could easily eat every day. Now, Christmas, ham, and then what? Candy canes, and then maybe like chocolate. That's really about it. I can't think of anything other than that. Maybe a mint? A mint. That is what Christmas is resorting to. A goddamn mint. But I'm not gonna say all the holidays that are better than Christmas because there's a bunch of them. But I'm just gonna say a couple. For example, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is an essence of Christmas, except with the present aspect, replaces that with food. There are so many banging Thanksgiving foods that Christmas does not stand a chance in hell. Honestly, Christmas is just not a fun holiday. It's always, especially if you have family members. Just we have to deal with the 3-year-olds or the 8-year-olds opening their presents, and it's just like, and then you get your present, right? And so I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 17, and so usually if I'm getting a present from like a family member or anything, it's just a pair of socks or maybe a t-shirt. But that's about it. There's no, or like a $25 Target gift card that I'm never gonna use, or a $15 Starbucks gift card, which I'm definitely not gonna use. It's just, I would rather if someone was like, "Would you want this $15 Starbucks gift card, or do you want a Thanksgiving meal that is good for probably a good week or two after the fact?" I'm taking that all day. And that's just the truth. And you know why? Because I said so. On to the second topic of the day. I kind of just went on a little rant there about Christmas. Wasn't too long. I think it was perfect. But just like me, I'm perfect. Let's talk about the whole Kanye situation. Because I'm starting to feel bad for the guy. Everyone makes it out that Kanye is just some psychopath, terrible person. And I think that he isn't that bad of a person. I just don't think he deserves to be canceled. In fact, I don't think anyone deserves to be canceled. I believe that every person should always have a say and a voice. And so I just feel bad for the man because he can't he is so famous that he can never just be normal. He talks about this a lot if you just listen to his music or if you just see him in interviews or whatever. He talks about how he just can't ever just hang out with his family or just like relax and go to like a grocery store or go to a restaurant without being absolutely mobbed and interrogated by the paparazzi. And I just think that's terrible. I don't think anyone should have to deal with that. And what's especially terrible is the fact that he can't speak his mind about anything. Or if anyone was in Kanye's shoes and all this was happening, I think no one can just be normal and do what he's done and experience what he's experienced. And the level of fame is just unimaginable. And like hopefully I get that famous off this podcast, so make sure to help me get famous, guys. But I just think that he deserves a chance to just speak his mind or just whatever without getting ridiculed. And I wish the best for the man. If hey, Kanye, if you ever want to hop on the podcast, you have to wait in line, but you could definitely be a guest, I guess. If you already haven't noticed, it's very hard to just be by yourself and just talk to a mic for 10 minutes, let alone an hour or however long I'm recording this. I'm hopefully doing this for at least a good 50 minutes, I would say. But or probably even longer if I don't even know if I'm keeping this in. But I'm probably going to be talking for 2 hours. Let's get into some conspiracy theories. I'm a big conspiracy theory guy. I believe that a lot of the things we're hearing on the internet or by the government, or I guess not a lot, but there's a good chunk of things that we see or hear or whatever is either fabricated or just not true. I'm a big alien guy. If you haven't even met me, you probably would know that, or if you met me, you definitely would know that. I think they're definitely around us. They're definitely among us. And so I think hopefully in my lifetime get to see an alien with my eyes, or at least the government tells us they're real, hopefully. I think that would be just I think aliens are just so fascinating because aliens are exactly the same as us, I would say. And they're just so mysterious and we know nothing about anything, really. We don't know anything if we're gonna be honest. And so there's a being that's even 100 years older than us, or 1,000, or even 1,000,000. We just we would have so much knowledge on this planet and about everything in life. I think that would just be so fascinating and it would blow everyone's minds. I don't think but the thing is, I think if the government just straight up said the aliens were real, or not the aliens, or just aliens, or just a creature with an intelligence close enough to ours or far above ours, I think a lot of people would reconsider their life and how precious or not precious it is and how unimportant we are depending on your viewpoint. And I just think that hopefully in my lifetime aliens are true and they're just there and we can just have a good old time with the aliens. I don't know if you guys have this problem, but I have this problem of where if me and a person don't talk like every day and we don't like communicate some way, if it's talk or text or whatever, I automatically assume there is a dislike for me. I don't know why, but I just think that's how it is. Or especially since I'm a high schooler, I'm 17. If I have a class with like multiple people that I've talked to in the past and they just never say a word to me, I just automatically assume I'm like, "Oh my god, they hate my guts." And so it was this funny story. I'm not going to say her name. Or I might say her name. I'm not gonna say her name. Well, I'm not gonna say her name. And so there's this funny story. I like making TikToks. I think I'm very I don't know why I like making TikToks. I think I just like the reaction out of them. I think it's fun to record and come up with the idea of like a sketch or just like a stupid video to make. And so I'm I'm pretty well received in the TikTok world, or not in the TikTok world, God no, but just like around my general area for being pretty funny on TikTok. And so, whenever I would like post a TikTok, this girl would like it within like a minute of me posting it. I'm like, damn, she's just waiting. She must be on TikTok all the time. And so then I checked my videos like every like I would say 30 minutes, but it's probably more close to 15. So like every like 15 minutes, I'm just checking the videos, seeing how they're doing, seeing if they're popping or not. Most of the time, they don't get popping, or I really never really got a poppin' video. I've gotten 2 videos that have gotten pretty okay, nothing too great, but that's besides the point. And so this girl would always like my videos in the first minute or whatever. And so whenever like after I checked after the 10 or 15 minutes, she would always dislike the video. Or not dislike, remove her like. And like when the first time she did this, I'm like, okay, that's I don't really care. But she did this to every single video I ever made. And on TikTok, you get a little notification. Well, I have it silenced, but whenever you go into the TikTok app, you get this like small notification that like in the bottom like middle right corner or whatever. You get a notification of that person like like liking your video or whatever. And so after like 5 or 6 times, I'm like, yo, I'm like, this is like kind of funny, but it's also kind of petty. So let me text this person or guess DM on TikTok this person. I'm like, and I know this person. I think we were never friends, but I think we were like, I don't even know colleagues, but whenever we had a class and we would like be next to each other, we would like exchange some words. We weren't complete strangers. And so I'm like, how funny would it be if I call her out on it? So I'm like, oh my god, I'll do it in a joking way. And I haven't talked to this person in real life for probably months at this point, if I'm gonna be honest. And so I'm like, I text this person, I'm like, oh my god, do you know I can like see when you like and dislike my videos, right? And I was like, LOL or whatever, but I might have put some emojis that made it seem like I was mad. I don't remember. I don't really feel like looking. And so I checked like every hour or so. I'm like, oh, I wonder what she said. It wasn't until like the next day. In fact, she's just left it open. And ever since then, she had left it open, right? Ever since then, she's never spoken a word, liked another one of my videos, or stuff like that. So to me, she probably doesn't dislike me or whatever. But in my brain, oh, I think she hates me for some reason. I'm like, why did I make that stupid joke? We could have been good colleague. And so I don't know if you guys ever have this happen to you, put it in the comments. Please, if you have any opinions or thoughts, put it in the comments. I'm gonna make sure to put like polls about each discussion I have. So maybe about like the Kanye one or like the alien or whatever. So if you want to check our Twitter, it's in the description, like I said in the intro. That would much be appreciated. Anyways, back onto the people hating me or whatever. This person probably doesn't hate me at all. Probably doesn't even know I exist. But in my head, I comptured up. Comptured up? I don't even know if that's a word. This is my first podcast, and I can't think of the word right now, so you're gonna have to figure out what that word means. So I like made this potion up in my head. There you go. That kind of works. No, it doesn't. Potion, that doesn't work, Leo. Do better. Anyways, I made this thing up in my head where I'm like, oh my god, she hates me. And from now on, I can never talk to this person the same. I don't think I've even said a word to this person, let alone back to me, you know? It's just very weird. I don't know if a lot of people have this happen to them, but I don't get like or anxiety out in public. I don't get anxiety out in public, but like in like a private setting with people I don't know, I do. But if it's a public setting and I'm like at a store or if I'm like really anywhere in public, I don't care. I'll gladly talk to a stranger. I don't know what's the difference between me talking to someone outside versus me talking to someone, or not necessarily outside, but like in public at like a Walmart or Target, compared to me talking at like a party, or me in like a back of the classroom, or me just like in the hallway. It's just very weird. I'm very weird. I'm not gonna lie. Like I will never say hi to someone first. I will never say hi to someone first unless I know them very well. I don't know why I do that. I'm just that's the way I am. Like if anyone's listening to this and you're like, wow, Leo must hate me. I don't hate anyone. Actually, I don't mind. I don't think anyone's like terrible or anything. I just won't talk to you for some reason unless you approach me or you do something funny or blah 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 or whatever. That's just the way I am. I don't know why. I'm probably not gonna get it fixed for a while. So I've been trying to catch up on all the Marvel shows and movies, and it's been so downhill. Honestly, Marvel has been just going. It's been terrible lately. I haven't seen the new Black Panther movie. I've heard that's good, but honestly, at this point, if I never see a Marvel movie again, I wouldn't be too mad, especially with DC actually rising up and becoming competition and actually being competent for once, which I think is fantastic. I've always been more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy, let alone a Star Wars guy. I'm a pretty big Star Wars nerd. I think Star Wars shits on Marvel. I think DC has the potential to shit on Marvel. And I think Marvel used to be so fun. Like like the last very good Marvel movie I've seen where I'm like, this is a good movie. This is why I go to watch Marvel movies. Was Spider-Man No Way Home. And spoiler alert, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in that movie. And they honestly make that movie. It is such a well-made movie, and especially with the villains. William Dafoe was absolutely great in that movie. But I don't want to rant about this too much because a lot of people are probably disinterested. But I'm pretty interested. I'm a big nerd. I love all things, if I'm going to be honest. So with the World Cup going on, I can officially say soccer is just terrible. Or sorry, football is it's just a terrible sport. I think I thought flopping was bad in the NBA. It's unfun to watch. It's unfun to watch a soccer game. I could never watch a soccer game, a full soccer game. I would rather run a marathon than watch a full soccer game. A full soccer game is just unenjoyable. There's so many stupid things that go on in soccer. It's so boring. There's so many like tournaments. And like the NFL, there's the Super Bowl and that's it. In the NBA, there's the NBA finals and that's that. But in soccer, I feel like there's some kind of special tournament every like other month. And another thing about soccer, and why it will never be successful in America, the time zone difference. Why would I ever want to wake up at 3 in the morning to watch a soccer game? I don't know who would do that for anything, let alone a game of soccer. And if I don't watch the actual good teams play, then I'll watch American teams. Like, I'm from Minnesota, so am I going to really want to watch Minnesota United play a soccer game? That will just be absolutely terrible, and it'll just be not fun at all. It's not even a fun experience to watch a soccer game. You just cheer, you boo. The crowd really doesn't affect a soccer game as much as it affects a football game or a basketball game. When people are shooting a free throw in basketball and the whole stadium is erupting and there's signs and then there's inflatables. I know you might bring up the free kick or the penalty shootout. I think that's what it's called. And the fact that a penalty shootout really doesn't happen that much, and that's probably the best part about soccer. That's the most entertaining part. I'll give soccer that. But just the expense of the last 3 seconds of a game in basketball or football, and you get that Hail Mary, or you get that 3-point shot right in front of your eyes and it goes in and you're just with your family or friends at the game and you're just screaming. But soccer, you can't really have the buzzer beater moments other than the penalty kick. You're never gonna see a shot in soccer with like 1 second left and a guy shoots it from half the field and it goes in. That's just not gonna happen. And that's why other sports are so much better because there's like anyone could win. In soccer, it's like there's certain teams that no matter what they get, they will never win. And there's not really a draft system in soccer. I have no idea even if there is a draft in soccer, if I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty sure players just pick what team they want to be on. I could be completely wrong, but I really don't care if I'm wrong. It's soccer. Or sorry, football. honestly, if America beats anyone in soccer, I think they should just have to change the name to soccer. I don't think football should stay the same as soccer anymore. I really do. I think that's just it's just so sad what goes on in that sport. Honestly, I'm just wondering about this lately. I went to the doctor's office probably like a month ago, and I was just thinking about this. Who the hell under the age of 30 ever picks up a magazine and reads it? You know what? Let me expand upon that. Who just reads books that aren't 80 years old or a 60-year-old mom? So I might as well explain what happened to my last podcast. And so if you haven't seen my TikTok about it, I guess I really didn't talk about it. It's just a promotion. But please go watch it. But the original plan that didn't include me making a podcast by myself at all was to me make a podcast with a bunch of my friends or whatever. And so we in fact did record a first episode, but we didn't know how to do audio tracks. We didn't understand what any of that meant. So all the audio was on one plane. You can't bleep out certain things or else it just bleeps out for everyone. And it was just terrible too. And we filmed for 2 hours. And honestly, those 2 hours are pretty good hours. But that was a month ago, and for the past like 2 weeks or whatever, for some reason last minute, they all just can't do it. And so that kind of sucks. Um, I'm here to prove them wrong and prove them that a podcast can be fun and it can be a entertaining thing to do. And so that's my plan. I'm gonna call them out. I'm gonna prove why I'm so much funnier than those guys. So, anyways, the original plan of the podcast was to be a debate podcast. Basically, those that podcast is the same as this podcast, except of having potentially 4 to 5 other unfunny people. You just have to deal with one unfunny person. And so, to be fair, I think I do have the best voice out of all of them, or that's what they tell me. So at least you're gonna deal with my voice, other than some voice cracking over there. Honestly, I have no idea if I am absolutely killing or if I'm absolutely doing terrible on this podcast. In my mind, I'm doing terrible, but that's what I always think. So please leave a comment and just tell me how funny and handsome I am, even though you can't even see me. And I'm probably not gonna have a camera or a video for a while, but I will we will get a camera very quickly if we can get a studio, or not a studio, but a nice place to do this podcast in person. Cuz right now I'm just in my room filming a podcast. And obviously you can't tell cuz this quality is amazing. But hopefully soon I can get this more in a better spot, cuz right now I don't like this place. I don't like the quality of this podcast right now. I feel like I can do much better. And this is only the first episode, so if I want the quality to be better on the first episode already, that's how you know this is going to be a great podcast. And so, what I realized is I probably should have topics going into this podcast beforehand, because I'm kind of just talking to you guys. And hopefully you like me just talking to you guys. If you guys want any topics, make sure to go in the comments section. I know I keep on bringing it up, but I gotta convince you guys to go down there, man. You gotta. And so, anyways, I don't know if I should tell like school stories on this podcast, because people at my school, I'm a senior, like I've already said, but might hear this. And so if I do, I've already told the story, I guess. But I don't know if I'm consistently going to do that, because I don't want to incriminate other people. I don't want to just absolutely make fun of other people like the way I could. But that's this besides the point. I think honestly, this has been a weird experience. If that's what I'm gonna say, it's just been a weird experience where I'm kind of just giving you my thoughts and you're just listening to them, and you really have nothing you could do about it. You're just gonna have to deal with my thoughts. You're gonna have to deal with how I talk for a while. I mean, you don't have to deal with them. You can always exit the podcast, but you won't do that because that would hurt my feelings. Do you want to know who I think the stupidest people are? The flat Earth community. I just come at me, flat earthers. Please give me more views. Um, I think they're just so stupid in the way that, and I believe in a lot of conspiracy theories, but it's just so much evidence and to pointing to why our Earth is round and not a fucking plate, a dinner plate, is absolutely, it's astonishing the fact that they're just, I feel like the community knows that they're built on lies. We discovered the Earth was round so many years ago. I sometime in the probably 1600s, 1700s, probably discovered that. I really don't remember anything in history. I know it was something to do with Christopher Columbus. That's probably wrong. I think he's the guy that sailed across the earth. But yeah, I just don't get how certain people can just absolutely lie about certain things. But I know I'm sounding like a hypocrite right now because I believe in a lot of things that doesn't have a lot of evidence. Like an alien, I guess there hasn't really been any alien evidence. There hasn't really been any evidence for Illuminati, I guess. But I just feel like those are more theories that you can just objectively look at and just go, there's a good chance that's happening. Good chance that's happening. Unlike us, and you know what's also very stupid about that theory is the fact they think everything is a hologram and has been a hologram for decades and hundreds of years when we could take our first picture of the moon and we see that it's round and apparently our planet is flat but we have a round moon, which that just doesn't make any sense coming from my mind. But who knows? I cheated everything in school, so let me just talk to you guys about what I think the worst. I don't even know if it's a fruit. I'm pretty sure it's a fruit. Yeah, it's a fruit. Coconuts are just the worst. They have the weirdest like flesh like texture. And if you're a fan of someone like a Jeffrey Dahmer, and if you're like, "Oh, I really want to become this guy. I really want to act like this guy." Just eat a coconut and you'll just taste, I guess you won't taste it, but you'll feel the texture in your mouth and it's just absolutely disgusting and the flavor it's just like it's this weird like not even like sweet flavor. And in order to make it sweet, you have to add so much sugar. And the fact that anyone can put it in their milk and think it's better than almond milk, let alone regular milk, let alone any other milk. Also, how are they making this much milk? I feel like 10 years ago, or I guess not 10 years ago, 20 years ago, almond milk didn't exist. I don't, or fucking coconut milk didn't exist. Now all of a sudden it's everywhere. I feel like there's more coconut milk and almond milk in aisles than just regular milk. I think that's absolutely crazy. And I just think that if you're gonna go with an alternative to regular milk, almond milk is the way. Especially if you want sweetened almond milk, it tastes great. If you want unsweetened almond milk, tastes just as good, just a little less sweet. This is me going on a rant about milk. I don't know how that's gonna be entertaining. But let me go back to coconuts. Coconuts are so bad that even when you make it into a candy, a chocolate candy bar, it's the worst. I will fight anyone on this that the Almond Joy is the worst candy bar ever made. Maybe second to the Payday. I don't know who would ever just eat a Payday because it's not healthy and it's just nuts. Just unhealthy nuts. Back onto the Almond Joy. The Almond Joy is just the most lazy chocolate bar ever. They combined the worst type of chocolate, this like easily like liquefiable. So if I add like the warmth of my hands to the chocolate bar, it starts melting. And it's just like the worst like texture ever with one shitty almond on top. Because that's what's really making the almond joy. It shouldn't be called an almond joy. It should be called an almond hate. Because I hate that goddamn almond and that coconut. What I think is crazy is that what's going on in Russia right now? How we traded a guy called the Merchant of Death for an WNBA basketball player that doesn't even make 100K a year. Now I know she's an American citizen and she's been in there for what, like 8 months or something like that. Could be longer, could be a little shorter, but around that time frame. And we just do the worst possible trade. We can get any draft picks, we can get anything. In fact, I think it would have been a better showcase of character if we just didn't do anything at all. because then it shows we're not willing to interrogate with anyone. You want to know what another thing I hate? Absolutely hate. You know what? This first episode is just going to be me ranting about what I hate because I actually don't have any topics. Don't really have anything, but I have a lot of things that I hate. Earrings are honestly terrible. I don't know why not a lot of guys are willing to admit this. I have never seen a girl or whatever man put on an earring and they look better. And it's especially those earrings where it's like deep inside the ear and it's huge and like you have to take a chunk out of your ear out. It's just no, I don't know why anyone would do that. A tattoo is fine. If it's a beautiful tattoo, it's improvement. But an earring is just even if it's like a clip-on one, I'm just like, I wouldn't want anything on my ears, so why would you? It's just they never look as well as like a ring or a necklace. I just I would rather see people wearing tiaras. How about you guys help me figure out a good time frame from this podcast? Because obviously the shorter the podcast, probably the higher quality it's gonna be. But the longer the podcast, you're just gonna see the real me fumbling the bag on trying to entertain you people. So if you guys want like a good time frame for like how long a podcast should be, please put it in the comments. I'll probably stop saying put it in the comments because I probably said it over 13 times throughout this goddamn podcast. But make sure to, if you have any opinions on this podcast for like, hey, if you added this segment or hey, blah, 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 for like, hey, your mic quality shit, which it might be. I don't think it is. I think it sounds pretty decent. But please leave it in the comments. Please subscribe. Please leave a like. Please go on the Twitter and vote because we're trying to be a little community here and I can take whatever I get and will always accept you with open arms. And so, we should get rid of the coin. I hate having coins on me. I hate having them. They're just so annoying to have. And whenever like I go to like a fast food place and I like pay with cash and they give me change, I don't care if it's a penny or if it's like 5 or 8 quarters. I'm just gonna give him back to them or tipping them or whatever. I don't know why anyone would still have a coin. You cannot buy anything with coins. They're so much heavier than cash. It's just useless to have. The only reason to have a coin on you is if you want to get a gumball at a goddamn gumball machine like a haircut place or wherever you get gumballs nowadays, because I have no idea where. I get my haircuts at Great Clips. Okay, I'm a white guy. Come on. I've been thinking a lot and what happens when we die. I know this is gonna get a darker turn, so if you're not into this, I should have timestamps in this video if I remember, so hopefully me editing this video in the future. I've just been thinking a lot about death recently, and for some reason I'm not scared of it, which I know a lot of people are. Like I could die tomorrow, right? And I could be pretty happy with my life. I've made a lot of people happy, I would say, hopefully. I think I have think people think well of me. I think I've left a small dent of impact, a small like a skid mark of on Earth. And so that's what I really care about. I really don't care about money or any of this non-useless stuff or even getting famous. I know that's kind of counterintuitive because I'm doing a podcast right now. But I think this will be a fun thing to do and get a nice community. I think that'll be fun. I don't know why I'm not scared of death, but I'm not. Which hopefully it's a good thing. I don't want it to be a bad thing. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm just not scared of it. I've never really been close to death at all. Had a pretty safe life, never broke a bone in my body, never really injured myself seriously, other than this one time going to school. I was in middle school, and my mom was spraying Febreze all over the bathroom floor and all of the walls and stuff. And so beforehand, she warned me, and as a kid getting ready for school, I did not listen to her. And I just ran into that bathroom, and I hit my head so fucking hard on the countertop of the sink, the countertop of the sink, and I almost cut my eye open, which that would have been terrible. So I have this little, I don't even think it's even there anymore, but there's a little slice of hair, I can't even really tell, missing from my eyebrow, my right side of my eyebrow. And so that's the closest or the most injured I've ever been. So if you guys have any cool stories about almost dying, send them to me. That would be cool. I can react to them on the pod. If you're gonna do a long story, probably email email me. My email will be also in the description of the video. So email me with anything. Email the podcast, not my. You're not gonna get my personal email. So we're gonna email like videos you want me to react to. I'll react to them, do a live reaction, and try to do my best to make it funny. Which would probably be hard because I'm not that funny. Um, just kidding. I'm the funniest guy in the world. Sam, if you're gonna send a story or whatever, make sure to do it on Gmail because I'm not trying to scroll through the comments section and see paragraphs. I would rather just read the story at Gmail. That's just for me. Also, if you're gonna send anything to me, like any like stories or whatever, make sure if you don't want the name said to just put a random name in or whatever because I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble. Especially close friends of mine or just people at my school. When I tell stories about other people, I would like to either censor their name if they would want me to or just have permission first before I tell stories cuz I'm not trying to ruin anyone's life over a podcast. Being in high school is very weird to me because when I was in middle school or junior high, my parents, my family, all the teachers around me would always say how hard high school is and how it's so important to your mentally and it can really change you as a person. And now for me, it really hasn't changed me. It's not that hard. It's just kind of it's just middle school but for older people, I feel like. And I just think that's so weird because all through my whole life, I was just told so hard. You're too lazy, Leo. You gotta try harder. You're never gonna succeed in high school. I think I'm doing better than a lot of people in high school, which I think is crazy. I don't know how people can fail even a class. I've dropped out of classes before, but that's because I just didn't like the class. I don't know how anyone could fail a class, like without like their parents not caring. That is fascinating to me. If I have anything below a B, my dad starts screaming at me. So I think that's very weird. Also, I need an intro for the podcast. As you noticed, the intro of this podcast, it's just some basic ass music I found on YouTube that's copyright free. And so if any of you guys want to make like an intro for me and just sing your heart out, send them to me via Gmail and I will pick any of them. Obviously, I'm not expecting hundreds of submissions. I'm not expecting really anyone to watch this podcast. I don't really care if this podcast gets 0 views or a million views. All I care about is just talking to the mic and just expressing how I feel. And so, if you like that, please send me some fire intros. Make sure it's copyright free and make sure if I ever do post a video, you're not going to sue my ass because I'll sue your ass right back. I never realized how hard it is to talk for an hour. Like right now, I'm 58 minutes into the podcast and it's so hard to be in a podcast by yourself. And I don't know how anyone can do it, if I'm going to be honest. This is like I'm it's very difficult trying to be entertaining for 20 minutes, let alone an hour. So it's very hard to entertain for an hour. So as long as I made a couple of you guys laugh, giggle, chuckle, or even feel bad for me and just gave me a pity laugh, I think that will be a win for me for some reason. I don't know why. But I don't know, for some reason I just want to keep on talking. I keep on wanting to make this as best as I can for you guys. And so, for one last time, that's probably been the end of this podcast. I mean, I think we talked about a lot of stuff, especially for the first podcast. The second podcast will be a lot better. I'll have actual topics this time to talk about. I might have a guest. Don't get your hopes up. Most likely it's just gonna be me. So if you don't like me, I don't know why you're watching this podcast. Especially if you're this far into it, thank you for dealing with me for that long. So yeah, that's been the end of the podcast, and I guess I'll see you whenever I see you.